Okay, so my name's Jeff Zwart. I'm the director of the GT Academy show, and this is our third season, and it's on Spike TV this year, and we had an exciting season that we just finished shooting.
So right behind you is Gran Turismo 6. Talk a little about what role this game plays in turning future drivers into real-life drivers.
Well, being this is our third season of shooting GT Academy, it's been a really mesmerizing experience every year to take people that qualified purely on their gaming skills and narrow it down to the final 16, and then separate those guys into a little bit of driving, a little bit of physical, a little bit of mental trials for them, both here in the United States and in England, and watch how these guys come out of the process. It's pretty fascinating, and what it's done over the last few years is turned out quality drivers that have finished on the podium of international events and places like at Le Mans.
What are your thoughts about the realism of what they can do with a game like GT6 today?
Yeah, the realism is pretty amazing in the game, and I think that that's what allows these guys to adapt so quickly. They end up reading the roads because the roads are so informative. The imagery that the road consists of is so detailed and so precise that when they get in a real car, they can take that same reading of the road, same feeling of braking zones, same feeling through the acceleration, and apply that to a real car because the game itself is so real. And it constantly plays out where these guys are so nimble and so good at the car control. When we get them to Silverstone, for many of the guys, it's the first time they've been in a race car. And the nimble nature of car control that's been created through driving on a video game level translates so quickly to what they do. And we're most amazed, all of us, when we watch this process, at their car control, their ability to hang on a car at top speed. And you got to remember, they're going there and jumping into a 550 horsepower, GTR on the second day they're there. It's a handful. It's big stuff to experience as a race driver, and they're doing it coming from a gaming background, qualifying that way, headed to England, and then go drive flat out 2 days into it.
How does video games, whether it's the angles, the perspective that they use in the video games today, influence how you go about turning a reality show around video games?
Well, you can't script the reality game. You can't script the reality shows. And, you want things to be portrayed, and you want things to come out in a certain way, but it's going to be what it is. And what's interesting is there's always a high drama, because what this person comes out with is a full year of basically professional driver immersion into a program with Nissan. So there's no lack of award out of this. This is one of the best awards ever given in motorsport to somebody coming up through it. So the fact that they get there, they qualify, and then they have the stakes during the event itself, the stakes that will ultimately lead to possibly the season in Europe driving, it's very hard fought. And these guys really go at it, and they really try to make everything work. And our philosophy is we want somebody fast, but we also want somebody who's an all-round package. Somebody who's good on the PR side, somebody who's good at the reading of things, the setup of the cars, and the actual driving. So it's this whole package that we're looking for.
We just saw the PS4 launch, and we have an Xbox One launching this week. What impact do you feel next generation will have on the future of racing video games?
I think that it's two things. I think that now that video games, we've proven in this process of GT Academy that we can turn out real drivers out of this. So we've gone from 56,000 people, I think, entered the first year to over 450,000 people. So the stakes are way up there now. The competition is really high, and I think the more the games step up their game, which is almost hard to imagine for the reality that's in it, the more serious they'll be taken, and people will start realizing that maybe this is a path to get to something that I absolutely in love with, that I want to be the rest of my life. And when you start looking at it that way as your path, your enabler to potentially become a professional race driver, that's a pretty amazing path to take, and it all comes from gaming.